Today, we have two stories from the world of Reddit for you. In our first story, the affair partner of OP's wife offers to beat the crap out of him in a boxing match, so his suspicions of his wife and her male best guy friend was raised, which led to a plethora of revelations. In our second story, OP and his partner hit a rough patch in their relationship, but she has no problem hooking up with other people. To find out how these stories end, get yourself a coffee and grab a bowl of popcorn so we can get into it.
My wife was on a business trip all week with her coworker, who's a guy friend of hers. I've always felt weird about their relationship, but I never wanted to be that jealous guy. Well, today, while I was on my way home from the gym with our 8-year-old son, I called my wife to check in on her, and since I knew she was about to get on her return flight. Her coworker, who we'll call Michael, was trying to joke with me since they were in the car together. He even made a violent joke about getting me into a boxing ring, so he could beat the crap out of me, which obviously caught me off guard. My son heard the joke from the back seat, and he was shocked. After the call, I messaged my wife and asked her, what was up with that? What he said was pretty weird. She responded by saying, it was just a joke. Because I was driving, I had the phone set on text-to-speech, so my son ended up hearing the whole thing. Strangely, he went on to say to me, why doesn't Mummy respect you? Which is a very weird thing for an 8-year-old to say. Maybe it was the endorphins from the gym, but for the first time, I actually believed my gut. When we got home, I got an urge to log onto her computer and check her messages. In the 20 years we've been together, I've never done this because I've never wanted to invade her privacy. What I found was a slew of sexy messages and pictures she had with Michael, and these went all the way back to 2019. There were I love yous, and tons of sexy and horny memes. I was shocked because she'd convinced me over the last few years that she wasn't a sexual person, and it was her meds that killed her sex drive. I took a few screenshots and emailed them to myself, and then I called Michael's wife to tell her everything. Once I was done, I called my wife and told her that she's been found out. She tried to lie and deflect, but she broke easily and ended up admitting to everything. She told me they had sex and expressed to each other that they were in love. When her flight landed a few hours later, we talked on her drive home, and she answered every question I had. She immediately blocked him on her phone and on social media, but I don't know what to do. I love her with all my heart, and she said that she's sorry and wants to work on us. But I don't believe a word coming out of her mouth. We have a wonderful 8-year-old boy, so the last thing I want to do is ruin this for him.
The way OP's wife humiliated and disrespected him is crazy. Her affair partner sees OP as a complete and utter chump, someone who doesn't deserve respect from anyone. To let someone get away with saying they will beat up her husband isn't something a loving partner would ever let slide. On many occasions, I've seen people make poor taste jokes about someone's significant other, and in most cases, they don't stand for it. OP's wife has made him look like a fool in front of another guy, and worst yet, their young son was able to witness it all. To stay with someone who cheated on you and fell in love with the person they cheated with is a big ask. If OP decides to stay with his partner, I can't see anything good happening for him in the future, at least in the context of this relationship. But let's check out the comments section.
Connell McFenrer says, Michael sees you as weak and inferior, which is why he invited you to the ring to beat the crap out of you. He sees you as someone who has a wife that he can sleep with at any time. Your hopefully ex-wife told Michael all your secrets, kinks, weak moments, and vulnerabilities. She probably even compared the size of your junk in order to make him get a false sense of superiority over you. She did this for 4 years, showing no boundaries nor values, and they probably laughed their asses off by making fun of you not catching them red-handed. Michael and your wife may have discussed divorce and separation as a possibility if you were to find out about them, and she probably told Michael that she doesn't care. She wasn't afraid of ruining things for your son like you are. Your smart and emphatic son had a gut feeling when he heard your wife's lover talking crap to you, and he's worried about seeing his father get made fun of by a random guy, and his own mother allowing it like it was nothing. Your son knew it was wrong, and knew you didn't deserve it, so he was disappointed of his mother's behavior, which is clear when he said, "Why doesn't Mummy respect you?" This isn't just an observation. It's your son being aware that there is an injustice and a lack of values or morals against you. As his father, you're one of his most beloved and admired people, and he just witnessed you being mocked. Lawyer up now. Get all the advice you need, and get out of this relationship before it steals another 4 years of your life. You're worried about your son, but your son will suffer in the future because you won't be happy. You'll be bitter. You'll have resentment towards your wife, and he'll catch it, like he did with what Michael said to you as a sign of your wife not respecting you. Don't lie to yourself saying you want to stay by the kid. Your kid's smart, and he'll understand if you explain to him, without being explicit of course, that Mom and Dad can't be together anymore, but that you two will always be there for him. Let him know that he's absolutely loved, and he isn't the cause of you divorcing. Go out and talk with a close friend. Be sincere and ask for advice, and try to think outside the box. What advice would you give me if it was my post and you were reading it? You're very young, so don't waste more years with her and then regret not leaving her later on down the road. Give yourself the respect she gave to her lover instead of you, and the respect your kid has for you. The respect a wonderful and lovely unknown girl can give you if you're ever ready to date again. Again, you're very young, so if you don't leave now, in the future, after years of resentment and more cheating, you'll regret it if you end up divorcing in your 50s. If you don't think she's going to cheat on you again, you have a super innocent view of the world. I mean, she's already lied to you for years about this. Starting to date again in your 50s will be a challenge, especially after wasting so much time in an already doomed relationship. Good luck and congrats for your son. He will be a great man, but it's up to you to show him the example of self-respect no matter what.
This Redditor's assessment of OP's situation was spot on, but we can only hope that he's ready to action advice like this, because it's not easy to do when you're in love.
I used to live in a dorm-style house with a bunch of other college students and travelers. After a month or two of being there, I started dating a girl called Sophie, who also lived in the house. She was funny, liked the same things that I did, and we spent a lot of time together. Whenever she went to work, I would go to her job to wait for her. I mean, you really couldn't keep us apart. Even though we had our own rooms, we slept in the same beds and had lots of sex. One day, though, I was feeling moody and just needed some space, so I told Sophie that I was going to the gym and then to the park. She asked me to buy her a bottle of vodka before I left, so I did. Then I went to the gym and played some ball. When I got home, I crawled into bed with her and fell asleep with her in my arms. The following morning, we were cuddling, and I told her how much I liked her and that I saw us having a future together. But during my speech, she stopped me mid-sentence. She told me that she cheated on me with one of the guys in the house while I was at the gym, and she did it because she got drunk and was angry with me. Me and the guy she slept with were pretty close, so I was furious and called her every name in the book. She apologized to me, begging me not to break up with her, but I couldn't stop cursing. She soon locked herself in her room and told me to leave because she didn't feel safe. After an hour or so, she called the cops and told them I was threatening her. I ended up leaving the house for the night and stayed with a friend until I cooled down. When I got back the next day, she saw me, but didn't say anything. A short while later, she texted me, asking if I was okay. She wanted to talk, so we went outside to have some privacy. She told me she was lonely, drunk, and angry with me because I didn't want to spend the day with her. She wanted us to continue seeing each other, so we stayed together. Over the next month, we went on dates and had plenty of sex, but then she dropped a bomb on me. One day, while she was drunk, she told me that she slept with one of the cops who came over when she called. Apparently, she gave him her number and they went on a date the next day. We continued hooking up for a few months, but in the end, I dumped her, and even though she begged me to stay, it was too late. The trust was broken.
The way OP's partner slept with other people after they had minor issues in their relationship speaks to her inability to deal with tough situations in a mature way. I wonder if these were the only two people she hooked up with, because it all seemed too easy for her. Anyway, let's browse the comments section for a minute.
Dogbone says, "Damn dude, everyone in the dorm is banging your girl, even the cops. I'm just speechless. Has she got a sister? Okay Afternoon says, she slept with another guy and called the cops. I hope you kicked her to the curb and said to her, I once wanted a life with you, but now you can go to hell. A friend of mine told off his wife who had slept with a coworker and said it was only sex. In the end, he kicked her out and started seeing a way hotter girl. His ex went nuts, but got reminded of the fact that she stepped out, so there's no going back.
At the very least, we can be happy with the fact that OP's partner was honest about stepping out on him. Otherwise, he could have found himself living a lie. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Coffee and Popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.